Hello and welcome to episode 81 of The Pilgrimage on FM23. I'm Jamie, and coming up on today's episode, following my sacking on the last one, we're job hunting. And only a few days after losing my job, we already have our first interview. Find out who with in just a moment. Here we go then, we've got an interview with Sheffield United. I really want this job, so let's get into it. Welcome Jamie, we're glad you've come along to discuss our plans for the club's vision should we decide to hire you. So it's great to be here, let's get started. Are you able to say why you've moved between clubs quite so often? I've been ambitious. When the opportunity arose for me to further my own prospects, I felt obliged to take it. You developed a reputation for applying for other jobs while still employed. What's all that about? I'm going to put that as a positive. I won't let anything get in the way of my ambition. You're up for a few jobs. Are you hedging your bets? I'm doing whatever I can to keep progressing. Is it fair to say you haven't done a great job with the media? I'm always willing to improve, I just need that chance. Previously being embroiled in media controversy, citing your inability to cultivate a strong dressing room atmosphere. What can you say to address our concerns about that happening here? Given the career I've had, that was very much the exception rather than the rule. Previously been embroiled in media controversy, citing your inability to command the support of your players. What can you say to address our concerns about that happening here? There will be no problems with dressing room atmosphere. Our previous manager didn't enjoy the best of relationships with the supporters. Are you confident of providing a different dynamic with them? I tried to forge a strong bond with the supporters in every way possible. We don't want a repeat of our last manager who we had to part company with earlier than expected. Are you going to be around for a while? I have a proven track record of spending considerable time in the job. Are you looking to bring any staff in with you? We provide the budget and flexibility to an extent. I'll ask for a small budget just in case we can bring a couple with us. The club vision for the future. Develop players using the club's youth system, good. Sign players under the age of 23, again, good. Possession football, good. High tempo pressing football, so they're looking for probably something around a gegenpress. That's fine. Work within the wage budget, again, fine. Grow the club's reputation, good. 1 year contract for players over 34, I'm fine with that. 2 year contracts for players over the age of 32. I won't even go as far as that probably. Automatic promotion by the end of 32-33 and then build on promotion going forward. That's exciting, so good. No expectations for the current season, and they'll set budgets in the build up to next season. That's fine. Anything else? Nope, I've no requests. And that concludes the interview. So I'll be back to let you know how we got on with Sheffield United and possibly with another interview. So I'll speak to you again in a moment. Okay, following my interview with Sheffield United on the 22nd of May, on the 11th of June, I'm still waiting to hear back from them, and Peterborough have offered me an interview. This isn't a job I'm interested in, and I haven't applied for it, so I am going to decline this one, and the wait will go on to find out who my next club is. So I'll be back again in a moment with the next instalment. We didn't have to wait long to hear back from Sheffield United. Later the same day, on the 11th of June, they came back to me and said that they have decided against offering me the job. They're happy with the vision I put forward, but decided I wasn't the right man for the job, and had gone for Jose Font, the ex-Southampton player, instead. And so the wait for a new job goes on. I'll be back again in a moment. Okay, on the 21st of June, Aston Villa have come back to me and said that my application for the vacant manager's role has been unsuccessful and I failed to make the shortlist. They did say I would have been a good fit for their ambitious vision for the future, but they are continuing their search for the manager, interviewing their preferred candidates for the role. So the search goes on, and I'll be back again in a moment. Another interview on the 26th of June. This one's a really exciting opportunity. Hellas Verona in Italy have offered me the chance to interview for their job. So let's get into it and go straight to the interview. We've invited you along so we can put forward our vision for the club and allow you to suggest any alterations for us to consider should we decide to hire you. So thank you, Giuseppe. Let's get into the interview. Great to be here. Let's get started. Are you worried about not being able to speak the language? I can learn the language. Football transcends language. That could be a good one. Why have you felt it acceptable to apply for a number of jobs whilst employed? It's acceptable when you consider how long I've been in management. Is it fair to say you haven't done a great job with the media? I'm willing to improve. Are you able to ease our worries about your apparent failure to contribute to cultivate a strong dressing room atmosphere? It was the exception rather than the rule. You're able to ease our worries about losing the backing of your players. Something I've learned from. Want to ensure the dressing room atmosphere is much better than it was under our previous manager. I'll make them a promise. Am I happy to work with Francesco Marocco, their director of football? Yeah, absolutely. Am I looking to bring any staff in with you? Yeah, a little bit. Maybe. Small budget. The long-term vision. So develop players using the club's youth system. Good. Make the most of set pieces, which is favoured but not essential. Okay. Sign players under the age of 20. Again, favoured. Sign players under the age of 23 for the first team. Favoured. Yeah, happy with that. Work within the wage budget. Good. Grow the club's reputation. Well, if we get promoted, we'll be doing that anyway. 1-year contracts for players over 32, fine. 2-year contracts players over 30, again, fine. Sell players before buying. So is there a financial issue going on here? Yeah, work towards repairing the club's financial damage. And they want me to gain automatic promotion whilst repairing the club's financial damage. And then stay in Serie A and establish ourselves there. So yeah, seems perfectly acceptable. They're not in a position to suggest any expectations, and they'll lay those out in the run-up to next season. That's fine. What's next? There's nothing else I want to ask for, so no requests, and they'll get back to me shortly. So I will talk to you again in a moment. Okay, time now for the latest roundup of job news, and Hellas Verona have got back to me, and they have decided to go down the route of appointing Alberto Bertolini instead, so I won't be joining Hellas Verona. Empoli refused to entertain my application, as they said their interview process is over. And I have now also submitted an application for the vacant role at Palermo. So that is the only one that's currently active, and I'll be back in a moment to let you know how that one goes. Okay, it's now the 9th of July and we're still out of work, but we've got another interview offer, this time with Italian club Palermo. So let's get straight into the interview. And I'm glad you've given me the chance to talk to the club. Let's get down to it. How would you overcome the relatively big obstacle of not being able to speak the language? I am able to learn languages. It will be another string to my bow. Why have I moved between clubs quite so often? Been ambitious, and when an opportunity arose for me to further my own prospects, I felt obliged to take it. Why have I applied for a number of jobs whilst employed? I'll always put my own best interests first. Has my handling of the media been mediocre at best? I think that's a little bit harsh. So I'll say I'm always willing to improve. I've previously been embroiled in media controversies, citing inability to cultivate a strong dressing room. What can you say to address our concerns about that happening here? I'll promise a healthy dressing room. I've also been involved in media controversy about commanding the support of my players. That's been the exception rather than the rule. I'm happy to work with the director of football, Alberto Gerbo. I'll only need a small budget. I don't intend to make massive changes. They have club vision. Sign players under the age of 20 for the future. That's fine. Defensively solid football. Fine. Most of set pieces, it's only favoured. I should get away with that. Work within the wage budget, good, that's required. Grow the club's reputation, well, if we get promoted we will do that. 1 year contracts for players over the age of 33, I'd prefer that to be none, so that's fine. 2 year contracts for players over the age of 31, I wouldn't offer any longer than that anyway. Sell players before buying. Mid-table in Serie B and competitive in the Coppa Italia, and start repairing club's financial damage. So they want us to get into the top half of Serie B long term, so I'm happy with that. They want me to be mid-table, and they'll be unable to consider keeping me in the role should we be relegated. I'll be able to reach the proposed mid-table finish. £325,000 transfer budget, that's fine. Wage budget of 126 grand a week, fine. And I've no further requests, so I'll be back in a moment to let you know whether we will be taking over at Palermo. Okay, well this is beginning to look promising. On the 14th of July, Palermo have asked me to suggest changes to their backroom staff. So let's get in and see if we can make some changes to their staff. Are any of the Fulham staff interested in coming with me? So they are Generally not. In fact, there is absolutely no one who is willing to make the journey. So I'm going to stick with exactly the staff that they've got. So we'll just hit confirm and await the job offer. I'll be back in a moment. Well, we didn't have to wait long. Just the very next day, they've come back to me and made me an offer of a 2-year contract on £4,500 a week. The board culture, sign players under the age of 20 for the future, defensively solid football, make the most of set pieces, actionable objectives, work within the wage budget and grow the club's reputation. Maximum 1-year contract for players over 33 and 2 years for players over 31. Sell players before buying. End of the current season, mid-table in Serie B, competitive in the Coppa Italia, and work towards repairing the club's financial damage. Next season, repair financial damage and work towards recording a top half finish. And the season after, record a top half finish, and then beyond that, maintain that. So start the negotiations. Let's see. I am going to accept their offer with no modifications whatsoever. So we'll finalise the deal and exit the talks, and I'll be back in a moment to confirm that we've officially taken the job. Okay, the news is official. Città di Palermo hire Sheehan. Palermo have today confirmed the appointment of Jamie Sheehan as the club's new manager. Eyebrows have apparently been raised in the world of football at the appointment of the 51-year-old who has recently spent time away from the club football, and he is sure to face plenty of questions when he faces the media for the first time at Renzo Barbera La Favorita. Sheehan arrives with a record of 233 wins, 101 draws and 131 defeats in his career. He's won 2 league titles and replaces previous manager Giuseppe Giacchini. Alfonso Greco was considered to be the favourite for the job, but it's unclear whether the club favoured Sheehan all along. Sheehan, a National League winner with Notts County, brings a wealth of experience with him. Sheehan prefers to use a 4-3-3 DM wide formation. I do. Sheehan was the subject of considerable criticism at Fleetwood in 2028 following a humiliating FA Cup exit at the hands of Gillingham, and will now be hoping for a better experience upon taking up a new position. So I'll be back in a moment to formally introduce you to Palermo and tell you what's coming up on the next episode. Okay, let's start the introduction to Palermo then with a quick look at the first team squad. I say first team squad, I should say squad in its entirety. I've had a look in the development centre and there is not a single player in either the under 20s or under 18s who isn't a greyed out player that we can't automatically use. As you can see from the first team squad, there are a number of players who are very decent at this level, but there is also an awful lot of dead wood. And I think we're going to need to take a look at the finances before we decide how much we can actually change this season and how much we're going to be reliant on loan signings. I'll be back in a moment with the financial details. Okay, well, the initial financial screen doesn't look too troubling. We had a massive debt of over 8 million until recently, but we're now in profit by over £1 million. So let's have a little dig and see if we can find out what the source of the problem is. I suggest we start with debt and loans. They've got bank loans totaling £9 million, of which they owe almost all of it. And it is due to expire. One of them's due to expire in 2037, one in 2056. What are the monthly repayments like? They're not too onerous, to be honest. £38,000 at the moment, but in another 6 years that will go down by £6,000. So I don't think that's too bad. And net debt is £8.8 million. Transfer debt only £113,000. So nothing too significant to worry about there. So I'm failing to see what the real problem is here. So time will tell, I guess. And I will be back in a moment to wrap up the episode and tell you what's coming up on the next one. Okay, time now to round up the episode by telling you what's coming up on the next one. And I'm going to play through all of pre-season off camera. I'm going to bring you back and show you the Coppa Italia first round. We don't know who that's against yet. And I'll also show you our first match in Serie B away to Albino Leffe. So if you've enjoyed that, please leave a nice thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for Monday to Friday Football Manager videos. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and goodbye.